video is being recorded on the late evening of Friday, September 29th, 2023. In this video, going to recap the week in gold and silver, which was not a good week, to say the least. So let's get right to it. So we have the daily charts here of gold and silver, the gold-silver ratio at the bottom. And essentially what we saw this week is both metals, gold leading with respect to breaking down out of the trading range that the metals have been in over the last 4 months or so, since the middle of May. Again, gold has led this move, and silver, if we look here, it hasn't quite broken down yet, but given how gold looks right here, it looks likely to me that silver is probably going to follow the same course. Down the gold-silver ratio, just to digress for a moment, it's a great macro signal, and obviously, I think, not obviously, but over the months ahead, if we get into a period where the market becomes more concerned about a recession, and recession and slowing growth becomes more of a factor than inflation and stagflation, that is something that's going to benefit gold over silver. So, if we see gold, silver turning up, it gets to the mid 80s, gets to 90, that can be a recessionary indicator. In other words, when we're looking for a real bull market to start in gold and silver and a new secular bull market, we may need to see gold really outperforming silver and the gold-silver ratio surging higher first, before eventually we get the real turn that is sustainable and turns into a real bull market. Back to the price action. So really ugly breakdown here in gold. I talked about this trading range, I think, in the last two videos, but in the last video, I thought, well, maybe gold, maybe because we were rallying, maybe we could see more of a rally. And same thing with silver. I was thinking maybe we could see more of a rally and silver would, be able to get to 2450 again. So I was wrong about that. But I did think, at least with respect to what I've indicated for subscribers, I did think that, that we probably were going to get a breakdown at some point. But again, that being said, I was wrong about more of a short-term rally, completely wrong about that. So, gold has broken down, and the question becomes, where is the next area of strong support? Now, it broke below the 200-day. Now, this is a daily chart, but if you look at weekly and monthly, and you look at those long-term moving averages, that band of numerous moving averages I like to use, that comes into play around 1850. 1840, 1850. So that is an area where we probably are going to see gold bounce. The miners, I'm not talking about the stocks in this video because I'm pressed for time, but the stocks are extremely oversold. The breadth indicators hit some real extremes a day or two ago. And it's something I indicated for subscribers in a flash update because, we got to stay on top of these things. So I don't know. Maybe the miners, but they did sell off to end the week. But if we see the miners start to stabilize next week, when you get these really sharp moves in either direction, the miners tend to be a leading indicator for the metals, and so maybe. But with respect to gold, maybe we're going to see a little bit more selling down to 1840, 1850 before you get a bounce. Or the other scenario is, you get a quick bounce and then maybe it plunges down to the low 1800s where there's really strong support. So I think ultimately that's the risk, that you're going to see this come down here. At this point, I don't think we're going to see a strong bottom here at 1840, 1850. I think gold's eventually going to go below those levels. But, gold did the same thing right around here. So it had this big breakdown, and then that led to a bottom. So you get a lot of false moves in gold and silver. And, you have to be wary of, breakdowns and sell signals and breakouts and buy signals. This was, kind of a false breakout. this is a real breakdown here, breaking below this. I mean, this is a real breakdown. But my point is, maybe eventually over the coming months, it breaks down below here, and then everybody says, well, it's broken down. That's a sell signal. You got to be careful because gold and silver make false moves all the time. With respect to silver, I mean, the numerous bounces above, or at the 400-day moving average. So here it closed below it by a couple hairs. Next strong support looks to be 20 or so. I think I may have mentioned 19 in a subscriber update a couple days ago. So you're going to see more pressure on gold and silver. And, I have not looked at the sentiment indicators, so that'll, subscribers will get a full update on that this weekend. But, trying to figure out where we're going to see the bottom. I mean, it's a combination of looking at the sentiment indicators, technical levels, and also the macro. And the macro is going to come down to how close are we to a recession in the U.S.? When are we going to see that? And we're obviously, it doesn't look like it's going to be in the next quarter or two. And, real interest rates have moved up considerably. And, given what I've said in other videos, you have stronger oil. That's also helping push up the 10-year yield, which is pushing up the dollar. So all these things are related and they're pressuring gold. And that's not going to end until we get close to the point where the market starts to worry about a recession coming. And, one indicator of that is the steepening of the yield curve. So, I mean, I could go on and on, but that's for another video. So, bottom line, we have a breakdown in precious metals. Probably too early to come in and buy. So we're probably going to see weakness into the fourth quarter. But, who knows? We could see another significant major bottom perhaps by the end of the year.